Alright, you masters, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about how to stop a bleeding, or at least stop the bleeding till you get professional medical help when your jugular has been hit. Yeah, I made this video because of this incident where this Ukrainian refugee girl got stabbed in the neck by some crazy guy, and she started bleeding out because she was hit in the jugular. So if you want to stop this, yeah, there's nothing better than how do you say this, Israeli bandages that you could have on you. But what if you don't have any medical appliances with you? We're going to show you how you use Israeli bandages to try to stop the bleeding on your jugular. But first we're going to try out if you don't have any of this medical equipment with you. Perhaps you are at a party, perhaps you are in public transport, perhaps you forgot your bag this day. That's something that always could happen. So let's talk about, first of all, before we go to start, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link in the description to my detective book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look. So if you have something like a jacket or a piece of clothing, perhaps a handkerchief. Well, first of all, the moment you got hit in the jugular, in the case of this Ukrainian girl, she perhaps didn't even realize she was hit. She perhaps didn't even felt it because it was from the back, stabbed, and she felt pain, but she was looking around for what happened, and that is very dangerous. So the moment I always would say, the moment somebody hit you or hurted you in a way, you should do this test they do in the military to see if you're bleeding. Perhaps because like I said, perhaps you didn't even realize you were bleeding. So the moment you got attacked by somebody, perhaps you think it was a punch, but perhaps they had a knife, a quick knife, a dagger or something else. You don't realize that you are being, perhaps you don't realize. So every time you got out of a physical altercation, you should pat yourself from top to down to see if you're bleeding. So we're looking for major bleeding, so just go around and feel everything, and if you see blood, there is somewhere bleeding, and then you can look for the bleeding. But it is a very quick check that you can just do around your whole body in just 1 or 2 seconds and see, is there blood? No, everything fine. But the moment you see blood, you can see it. So you can do it if you notice that you have bleeding in your neck. The first thing you need to do is assert what kind of bleeding that is. Perhaps the jugular is not hit. Perhaps you feel blood, but it is a small amount of blood. That's already good, because if there is a small amount of blood, that means the jugular is not hit, because jugular has a lot of pressure inside of it. With if it's dark red blood, usually that's an artery, so it is still dangerous, but it is something that you can take a handkerchief and put pressure on top of it and try to call for medical help in that moment, for example. But if it's bright, I want to talk about the dark red blood, by the way. If it's dark red blood and it's just running out, that's usually an artery or a vein. But the moment you see bright red blood that is coming out, pumping wise, that is an carotid artery, the jugular, so that's dangerous. You could bleed out in minutes with that. So the moment you see bright red blood and you see it pumping, getting outside pumping, directly put pressure on top of it to stop the bleeding, and in the best case try to find somebody for help, because what also was a problem with the refugee girl is nobody helped her, because she didn't self-realize that something happened. The attacker was still around, so many people were like, first they had the bystander effect, so because there were other people around, there was the bystander effect where the responsibility was divided, so you feel less guilty for not helping. which is another story. If you're alone there with somebody else, then people are usually more eager to help. So the moment you get hit, you should scream, because first of all, if you scream, you alert other people that there is something wrong. Yell something like, "He stabbed me in the neck." That's the first thing. If you yell that, then the attacker might run away, because if you are an aggressor, robber or whatever, you don't want witnesses and you don't want people be alert and that they call the police. So by yelling, the attacker probably will run off, and the moment he run off, then there's more likely situation that other people will help. So if you yelled and the attacker is gone, you can help, ask for people, help me, and you have to point at them, because people might be in shock because they cannot believe what happened in front of their eyes, and you need to snap them out, and you have to put responsibility on them. So the moment you're bleeding, you say, "You there, call the ambulance right now, and you come here, help me, put pressure on my neck." So it's easier to call help from somebody else who can put some pressure on your neck, because from the moment this all happens, you might have blood out a lot, and you might not have your full body functioning and your full brain capacity to take further actions, how well you're trained. Even if you're really trained, shock, blood loss, the panic of the moment can hinder this all. So it's crucial to ask for help in a moment. Don't be a hero and just be like Arnold Schwarzenegger and like put bleeding on and just walk out like nothing will happen. No. Point at certain people, like, you call the ambulance, you warn if you're in public transport, warn the chauffeur or the train conductor, you call the police, you put pressure on my neck, and if somebody can help you to put pressure on your neck, or you can yell to somebody, search for a doctor, or if there is somebody with medical knowledge, they can go out and yell, "Is there a doctor around here?" If you have chance, there are perhaps nurses, doctors, or people with medical backgrounds around, and they can come to help you. So that's already a first good step. But what if you're alone or nobody is willing to help you? Well, first of all, put pressure on top of the wound. That is the first thing you can do, and call medical services and explain them, "I'm bleeding out. This is my location. Please come help me." And perhaps they can find the signal of your phone to find you. But usually, I think the minimum time for an ambulance is between 6 to 8 minutes. So it is very difficult to hold out this long to putting pressure onto a jugular vein being hit. And yeah. And imagine if you don't put enough pressure on top of it, or you're bleeding slowly out, yeah, you can lose function of your body and can let go, and you can bleed to death. So that's very annoying if that happens, if you put directly pressure. Another thing you can do is put your thumb onto a pressure wound, but a pressure point is not that effective, because, like I said, you have to know where the jugular vein is, and perhaps put your thumb of it to close off the vein, but this only lasts by how many pressure you can put on, which is difficult to put because it will hurt. It's perhaps not that effective, and perhaps you will lose strength in your body because of blood loss. So it's better to put something like a piece of cloth, piece of shirt, a jacket, and put pressure on top of it while you, as long as you can and as hard as you can. So that's the first thing that you need to do. But what if, like I said, the ambulance could take, there's nobody around, ambulance could take 6 to 8 minutes to arrive. So yeah, that could be very troublesome. So what you can do then perhaps is, if you have a jacket or something, you can take the sleeves, you can put it around you, try to make a knot as fast as you can, and use it close to your body, and you keep putting pressure with your hands, but the moment you lose pressure and you drop your right arm, at least this will still put some pressure, even if you lose the capacity to put your hands with your own jacket, because the jacket is under your arm, and if you drop this, now there is pressure on top of the wood. Never do this in front of in the front, the pressure like this, because otherwise you will close off your airway, and that's not good. You need to let open the other jugular, so there's still blood going in and out to your brain. You have to see that you don't close off your airway, and make sure that it's very tight to your body and very good knotted, because the moment you feel weaker and you cannot put pressure enough, at least when your arm and your shoulder is going down, the weight of this will put pressure, will keep some pressure on top of it. And this is very improvised, but if there's nobody else around, and there's nothing else of medical supplies that you have, this could help a lot. Oh, I put a little bit of too much of a nuts here. You know what? I'm gonna unknot that later. So another thing that you could have is perhaps I always carry in my EDC bag, for example, or perhaps you wear it as a type of clothing, a chamak. A chamak, we all know this in the prepper community. What this is? This could be the same thing. You can just, if you open it up, open it in the smallest way, make a knot close to your body, and even now I can feel pressure by letting my arm close it off. Of course, try to keep your hands on, and I can feel it even in my body that this jugular is now not fully closed off, but there is enough pressure on top of it to do something. So yeah, I can feel it in my arms even now. So yeah, that's also something that you can do with the chamak. Like I said, keep it as tight to your body as possible. Make a good knot in case you will let your arm loose. So if you are lucky enough or prepared enough to have something like an Israeli bandage on your body, I would say there is something big that you need to think about, because most people who have Israeli badges with them will have them in this package, which is good if it's sterile and you can use it in a case where there is a bleeding and you have time to open the sterile plastic inside of it, because this is 2-layer plastic, and open it up then. This sterile, yeah, that's perhaps good. But in case of artery bleeding, carotid artery bleeding, like in this case the jugular, I would say always keep your Israeli bandages already opened, perhaps a little rubber band around it, and keep it in your bag like that. Why? Because like I said, with the jugular bleeding, it could be every second count. So the moment you feel bleeding, you realize it, you look around, nobody here to help you, and you have to first of all take your hands off. So now your bleeding is open. Open it, open the second package, get it out, and by that time there is a big chance you lost much needed blood. So I always say to always leave it open, keep it in, of course, in a clean bag. Don't let it roll into the mud, of course. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you can save precious seconds with this. So the moment that this is open, you can do actually the same thing, because Israeli bandages has this little fork inside of it, so you can tighten it up. So keep pressure with your hands, roll it around. It takes perhaps some practice. With the fork, I can feel the pressure on my neck now. pressure. And at the end you have this plastic fork. You can end on top of it. And now, as you can see, there is now enough pressure here on my jugular here. If I drop my arm, because I could have put it really tight on top of it, and because of these plastic forks, the pressure is especially on the place where the bandages is right now. And because, like I showed before, my arm is dropping, I can really feel it being closed off right here. I can still breathe. The other jugular is still open, and because it's elastic, it's I could have pulled it very tight, and now there is a little bit of leeway that can help with putting it tighter on. So now my jugular here is fully pressed on, and I can call for help or get out and look for help perhaps. And it's still good to keep pressure with your hands on top of it. The more pressure, the better. And yeah, hopefully you will find help. I will now take this off because it's really pressing against my neck. Alright, so these are the things that you can do improvised or with medical help assistance instruments to help stop the bleeding till you get to professional medical help. And like I said, depending on how much damage there is onto your jugular, it can be a matter of minutes, but every second you can slow down the bleeding is a second quicker that professional medical help could arrive, or somebody else could help you in case you faint, and somebody else could help you put pressure while you are being fainted after losing so much blood. So, and they can also call help or guide the paramedics towards you. So I hope this will never happen to you, because it is very risky, it is very uncertain, every situation is different, every body is different, every time you get stabbed could be minimal or maximum damage. It is not like in the movies where everything will be fine. You will have big problems afterwards, but yeah, the game is survival, and survival is being prepared, know what to do when the moment is there, and improvise along the situation. And I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have got any other tips for a jugular bleeding that I haven't showed you, perhaps there is somebody with more medical knowledge than me, please let me know in the comments. I'm always eager to learn. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, and see you next video. Cheers!